It's a son. Of course. But the daughter was like a daughter, no? Good shot. Okay, it should be a binyan at the Yad Be'ezer Hashem. Okay, today I came up this afternoon with I think a pretty interesting chidush. Okay, so we're in the last parsha of the Breshis, and maybe before I tell you my main board that I prepared, is I would like to please share with the Olam a ha'ara. The Maral says in Derech Chaim, Perek Hey, that Maisa Ovis Simon Abanim means, I think it's a little bit.
I know, I can't do it.
It's okay?
I can't do it better. But if you do this, no problem.
Okay. No, it sees my forehead.
Yeah.
Okay, forehead's very chashuv. They say the Arizal would look at a person's forehead and know which Averis he did. And people would come to him and like wear the hat in the oifen that you can't see the forehead.
Chaim Kanievsky has a story.
Really?
He saw something on the head. Boss of the challah or something, he saw the picture of
On the forehead.
Yeah.
Peter Plum. Anyway, Rabbi say, we're Shalom Aleichem back to Rabbi Yamin. He was in Eretz Yisrael. Good, Baruch Hashem, back. Very happy to have you back here. Okay, Rabbi say. So the issue is, the Derech Chaim and the Maral explains that the years of the Ovis, Ma'aseh Ovis Simon Avani means the whole history of the Jewish people is encapsulated. Is that the word in English? In the years of the Ovis. That's the root, which is the whole history of Am Yisrael. From beginning to end is in the Shorish is Ma'aseh Ovis. And if you really want to understand what we're going through, that's Yadua. The Goran used to do that. If you learn carefully the Parsha of the Ovis, you'll know exactly where you're holding, what to do, and what's expected of you. But you got to be a Vilna Goran for that one. And so Obaisa comes out that Lamaisa, how many years were the Ovis alive? 502. No, 307. Let's make a cheshbon. No, they overlap many years. You're adding each one together. But if we start Avraham Avinu when he was born, he was 0, right? That makes sense. When you're born, you're very young. That we understand. So it's 0. And then he was 100 years old when Yitzchak was born. And when Yitzchak was 60, that means Avraham Avinu was 160, Yaakov Avinu was born. And Yaakov Avinu lived 147 years. So 160 plus 147 is 307 years. Those 307 years is the ganze Mahalach of Am Yisrael. And the beginning of Yetzias Mitzrayim and so on, that's Avraham Avinu that went down to Mitzrayim, etc. The last 2,000 years that were in a bitter regolus, it's Keneged Yaakov Avinu, that Kol Yomav were in Tzaras. It's Kedua that the Maral says a few times that Yaakov Avinu represents living in agony. Bring me a raya for that, Rabbi say that Yaakov Avinu is someone that Kol Chayav Haya. First of all, we spoke to Paul. Shnei Chayim Ma'at V'Ra'im Hayu Yomai. Yeah, Tzaras. What? I'm sorry. 100%. And he says, Misha Omar Lo Olam Dai, Yomar Le Tzaroi Seidai. Rashi brings in Chumash, Shalosh Shakateti Min Urai, Tzarat Lavan, Tzarat Esav. Before he was born already he had Tzaras. In his mother's womb. With Esav and Lavan, and then Yosef disappearing, and Maisadina, and Rach, the whole life. It says Mefresh also in the Medrash, in the Pasuk we say, L'mnatzach Mizrah David Yamcha Hashem B'Yom Tzara, Yisagvech Hashem Elokei Yaakov. So the Medrash says when it comes to Tzaras, it's Yaakov. So that's what we're going through for the last 2,000 years. But what about the good, happy ending? Mashiach in Olam Haba. That's also Yaakov. The days of Mashiach start in this week's parsha. Vayechi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim 17 shana. Kaminyan Tov, that these years were a bliss. No tzaras. He's together with Yosef. Everything is hunky-dory. And then, and what about Olam Haba? That's Yaakov Avinu lo yimes, which is also in this week's parsha. That he's living a spiritual kind of life without reading a goof, without anything. That's called Yaakov Avinu lo yimes. So our last kufa of Am Yisrael is Yaakov Avinu. the tsaris, which were in abundance, and then Mashiach, and then Tchias HaMeisim, Olam Haba. So here comes the question, of course, what Shlomo just now asked, in the days of Mashiach, have to be in Mitzrayim? Mashiach will be in Eretz Yisrael. It's nevertheless, this symbolizes the Moshe Mashiach as Yaakov Avinu in Mitzrayim. It's a question that's asked. It's a question that's asked. Those are the years that represent Mashiach, and everything will be gewaldig, and but it's not in Eretz Yisrael. So, the Pashat Teretz on that kasha is by the others. Since wherever HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you, that's called Eretz Yisrael. And since HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Yaakov Avinu, I'm going to be with you the whole time. Das Rufzach Eretz Yisrael. What do you mean, Das Rufzach Eretz Yisrael? I'll be right. So, the Ramban says in the beginning of Sefer Shmos. The Ramban says in his Akdama to Sefer Shmos. Says the Ramban that Sefer Shmos is Sefer HaGeula, and therefore the first part of Sefer Shmos, Taka speaks about Gulas Mitzrayim, but the second half is about the Mishkan. Why is that in Sefer Shmos? L'chora, that belongs to Sefer Vayikra, with the Karbanis. Why is that in Sefer Shmos? Right? Answers the Ramban, you know what's called the full Geula? That we go back to the Madrega that we started from. You make a full circle. And as long as the Shekhinah is not dwelling amongst us, we didn't reach Malas Avisayim. But then once the Mishkan is amongst us, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is dwelling amongst us, then we are ready in the Madrega of the Avos, Shaya, Lashon of a Pasuk, Elokei Aleim, that they were Shechinadik. That's what Ramban says. So the Mishkan is the conclusion of the Geula, because that's just coming out of Mitzrayim is not enough. We're not yet where we started from. But when the Geula is completed, when the Mishkan is amongst us. But the others were in Eretz Yisrael. And the Mishkan, with all due respect, is in the Midbar. I mean, right? Moshe Rabbeinu did not enter Eretz Yisrael in the Chamisha Chumshei Torah with Moshe Rabbeinu. So how could you say we did a full circle and we're back to where we started? We're not. So you have to say that the Mechilta says in Parshas Bo, Mishnivcha Eretz Yisrael nifsnu kol ha'otzos l'nevuah. Once Eretz Yisrael was chosen, now no other place in the world could match that. But that's the days we enter in the days of Yeshua ben Nun. But prior to that, you have a din of Eretz Yisrael where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. That is the Maila of Eretz Yisrael.
I was Yitzchak Avinu told you can't leave Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah, true. True. Meaning, you can ask even more. You're asking good Avkadori. That means it's mamash like Eretz Yisrael? Ad kedei kach? So how come Yitzchak couldn't leave Eretz Yisrael? Or furthermore, it's the Ramban, we're speaking about the Ramban in Takdama Teshmais. It's the same Ramban that says the Avos kept the Torah only in Eretz Yisrael and not in Chutz La'aretz. So, but Me'idach Yisrael, the Geula is already completed. We're back to where we started from. So, maybe going to Chutz La'aretz, maybe to answer your question, and the other question is, when the Avos went to Chutz La'aretz on their own, so to speak, it doesn't carry the mile of Eretz Yisrael. But if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to be with you, Anochi ered imcha, I'm going to be there. And that's a haftacha that we didn't have till now. It says, Ushmaticha b'chol asher telech, I'm going to watch you. Fine. That's what it said before in Yaakov. But I'm mamish going down with you? V'anochi ered imcha. What's the lashon there of the pasuk, guys? Anochi ered imcha. I'm going to go down with you. I'm mamish going to be with you. Ad kedei kach, that's called Eretz Yisrael. That is called Eretz Yisrael. In the days of the others, so there's no room to ask, hey, it's in Mashiach days in Mitzrayim. Member of Dal. Very good. What does it say? Anochi ered imcha Mitzrayim. Maybe we should say Anochi. When it says the word Anochi, the Maral says the difference between Ani and Anochi. Anochi means my essence. Ani is you. Connected to the word Ani, there's Ata. There's no Anochi to Ata and Anochi.
Dat wil zeggen, ga ik leggen, you can do on the sort of focus. Because it came down even further.
Even to that level. Very good. Very good, Yecheskel. B'seinu Gomer. Okay, Rabbi says, so that's what you can answer on this Nakuda. It's nice. Is it a great teretz? Okay. Nishkosh. Nishkosh, but again, to say that by the others, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mamish with them, there's no difference if you're in Eretz Yisrael or not. That you see from that Ramban and the Akdama Tishmais. Okay. Hachada.
The middle of the West surrounded with the
I'm sorry?
The middle is surrounded with the anonym.
Yeah.
And that was like the sort of.
Yeah, with the Shechina. The Ramban says the Shechina portion. The Mishkan, yeah. Okay, Rabbi Yisai.
You made the cheshbon with the years. You're going to come back to that or not?
The Cheshbon with what?
The years, the 307. You're going to.
Yud?
The 307. You made
The
the
years of the office being encapsulated.
No. Just bring out the office and campus.
You're saying I thought you was some shit.
No, not about 307. And by with Avram Avinu, I don't know if it starts from the time he's born. It could be not that he represents us. It could be once the Kodesh Baruch Hu spoke to him. I don't know if the age of 0. Zani lo yodea. But again, Yaakov Avinu represents the Gemara. Fine. So by saying there's a medrash here when in this week's parsha, which I want to go a little bit into. When the Yaakov Avinu tells Yosef, "V'yidgu larov b'kerev haaretz," where does it say? Here, Perek Memches Pasuk Tetzayin. Hamalach Hagoyel Simikol Ra Yevachas Nori V'Krev Mishmi B'Shem Avosai Abraham V'Yitzchak V'yidgu larov b'kerev haaretz. So there's a comparison done here to fish. Is there a Breshis Rabbah in this room? If not, so we'll say it by heart. Okay. The Breshis Rabbah says a more dik in the Kuda in Parshat Tzadik Zayin Ois Gimel on the Yid Gularov B'Kerev Haaretz. You know what it says? Ma dagim shebayam. Even though they're in the water the whole time, whenever fresh water comes down, they drink it as if they never drank water before. It's like the first time. Kach Yisrael, who are learning Torah, when they hear a Dvar Torah, a new one, they swallow it up as if it's the first time they ever heard a Dvar Torah. Kach katuv b'Chazal. You know what? I think. Oh, one second. I have someone quoting it. Here it is. Ma dogim. No problem. I have it quoted here. Halalu gdeli b'mayim. They grow in water. Kivan sheyoredet tipa achas milamala. One water from Mekablin Oisa B'tzimon. They accept it with such thirst. Kimi shelo ta'amu mayim mehon, as if they never tasted water in their lives. Kachem in Yisrael. Gedelim b'mayim b'Torah. Kevan shem shamim dvar chadash min haTorah. When they hear something new from the Torah, hen Mekablin Oisa B'tzimon. They accept it with such, how would you say tzimon? Thirst? Maybe there's a better word in English? Tzimon. Have a shutter. Okay. But Simon, kimi shelo shamu dvar Torah miyemehon. Breshis Rabbah, Tzadik Zayin Gimel. We know that's true. We know all of us experience this. When you hear Gevaldik Torah, as if you became a Baal Tshuva yesterday, and you learn now what Dvar Torah, and wow, that's what Torah is about. That's fantastic. And it comes from Dagim. What steht da? How does that work? Why is that taka true? What does it take to be passionate about our Torah and Avodas Hashem? Obviously, that's the Avodah. We should do it. This Ma'amar Chazal. Kachem Yisrael g'delim b'mayim b'Torah kivan shem shomim dvar chidush min haTorah hem mekablim oto b'tzimoin kimi shelo shamu dvar Torah miyemehon. As if it's the first time, like always, like about Tshuva. He comes, it's for Shabbos, he says, "Oh, Shabbos is so wonderful." They say one of the biggest things that used to work in Kirov. Again, today the whole world changed. I'm speaking in the 80s and 90s. Take them to a chasna, a Yiddish chasna, which Michal will have next week. They say this would clinch the deal. the way they dance, and Mesameach Chosr and Kala, and they say, once a Baal Tshuva told me, you want to know the nafkamina between Adam and Behema? Look at the chilik between a Yiddish chassan and another chassan. That's what he told me. I've never been in a goyish chassan, so I can't tell you what it means. They told me it's just pashut. It's lo korav ze kol halayla. By Yiddish chassan, the focus is the chassan kala. You're there to misameach them. That's the avoida, and it's separate, man, woman, By the goyish, one day, and invite you like to a birthday party, they're inviting you to their party, and they have to entertain you, and they do all kinds of things which ayin lo rasa. What?
It's a form to get drunk.
It's a form to get drunk. Yeah, today someone's not only drunk, it's probably drugs. B'chulu. Unfortunately, also sometimes Jews get drunk today. Litzarenu. You guys are very young, but when I was a bacher, Yecheska, when we were bachim, did anybody go get drunk? No, it's crazy. When we were bachim, it was a shikir zagoy. What's the song, right? The song in Yiddish? A shikir zagoy? Yeah. I can tell you guys, I'm serious. Even the biggest bums, when I was a bacher, no one wanted to drink. It was unheard of. It's a push it. We didn't do it. They did other crazy things. But not getting drunk. What? Okay. One day, poor Masada, good. But today, okay, good, Rabbi Isai. So let's try to understand this Nakuda. Okay. So, Rabbi Isai, what I would like to start this sugya is, again, Rav Hutner Zatzal, Mepachad Yitzchak on Rosh Hashanah, Maimer Kav Zayin, letter Ches, he says the following. That each person HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the koyach which is called koyach hischachus. Hischachus means renewal. Any other word in English for hischachus? What? Rejuvenation. Okay, so he says like this. B'sha'ah shekoach zeh sholetu al adam, when this koyach of hischachus is in charge of Adam, nafsho shel adam locheshet la'atzma, the nefesh of a person whispers to itself, Dvarim kagon elu, something on the following. Afal pi shemitzad ha'evarim sheli, even though from the external part, from my evarim part, v'achushim sheli, my senses, ein ba'uvda zo shani oseh ela chazara shel hergel ba'alma. Like for example, putting on tefillin. We're putting on tefillin for decades. For decades. So the koach hischachus will tell you at that time, afal pi shemitzad ha'evarim sheli, even though from the perspective of my limbs, and my senses, I'm just, it's repetitive. I'm doing it for decades. Nevertheless, the feeling, as if it's the first time I'm doing it. עד כדי כך מגיעה יכולתו הרוחנית של האדם. עד כדי כך. Again, in English, how do you say עד כדי כך? So much so, an ability of the spiritual ability of a person, להטביע, to print, את חותם הראשוניות, the seal of the first, על עניינים שחזר עליהם 100 פעמים ואחד. You have that koach. It's a koach that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us. That even though you're doing it for decades, mamish, how many times have we put on tefillin already? Thousands and thousands, Beis Hashem till 120. You have the ability that tomorrow morning you're going to put it on with the argosha as if you're a bar mitzvah now. The first time in your life. We have that koach. Which is the koach that the Beis Rabbi is speaking about when you learn Torah. But how do you activate that koach? Because obviously it doesn't happen b'pashtus. And we know putting on tefillin with such a argosha is a madrega. Because usually we put it on, it's automatic. Autopilot, that's how it's called. Autopilot. Like I heard the name of a Zatzal. When do you start focusing a little bit on davening? Everything's autopilot. When do you have to stop? Shir Shel What day is it today? That's the first time that you got to pause. Tuesday, Wednesday, gedenk nicht. Till then, autopilot. The Shir Shel Yom, you got to pause. What day is it today? Because that's the only thing that changes from day to day.
In Hasidic shuls, it's what day is it, whether it's a Yortzeit.
Okay, good, good. Oh, by the way, where's the Mazel Tov to Baruch? A grandson was born. Yeah. When? Mamish last week?
Yeah, that's
Last Wednesday.
yeah. It should have been today, but it should have been tonight.
Okay, whenever it should be b'shal tov u'mutzlachas. Baruch Hashem, simchas. So this is what Rav Hutner says in Rosh Hashanah, that we have that koach. Where does that? How do you activate the koach? Because it would be a shmak to live like that. No, let's face it, that would be super duper. And again, now you think about Chazal say b'chol yom yu beinecha kechadashim. Yeah, it's there. It's all over. That even though you did it already, who knows how many times, Aischachos. So Rabbi said there's another thing in this week's parsha. When it says Naftali Ayola Shlucha, okay, that is in Perek Memtes, Pasuk of Aleph. Very good. Naftali Ayola Shlucha Hanoisen Imrei Shofer. Says Rashi in Pasuk of Aleph. He says in the last Dibur Matil, Hanoisen Imrei Shofer Al Yadam Sharu Dvaro Ubarak Shira. Good. V'Rabbeinu Darshu Al Yom Kfuris Yaakov Kishi'ir Esav Al Amara B'Masechet Soita. So Rashi is alluding to Agmara and Masechet Soita. And Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. You know what it says there? Agmara. That what happened there? When Yaakov Avinu was about to be buried, and came Esav, Mamish at the burial time, Mamish when they're about to put him in, Mamish, Chever Kedisha, Mamish. Shkeach. Let's give a look at the Gemara. Shkeach. What happened there? A fascinating story. The Gemara say that. By the way, there's going to be a question and answer that I'm going to share with you soon. The whole world knows it as Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, very known. But I'll show you the Maral says it a few years earlier. Okay, so what does it say? In Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. It's words in Aramaic, but there's a story there. Here. You know, I remember. I just saw it tonight. I just remember if it's Amud Aleph or Amud Beis. Amud Aleph. Okay. Very good. Oh, here it is. So, because what happened there? Kivan shegiya leMaras HaMachpelah, the Mita reached Maras HaMachpelah. Ata Esav. Esav came and said, Kama Akev. Say, hey, wait a minute. Amar len, Mamre Kiryat Arba Yichevron, V'omotz Garba Arba Sukkot HaYehudon, Ve'le'iyu Kovra L'Leah. Now it's my turn. What's ever left is mine. Right? Even though, so they told, no, we had a deal. We have a deal that he gave all the money that he had, and, right? Remember what Rashi says, Nichse Chutzlatz last week? That they came down with Nichse, all the Eretz Canaan? And then go down with Nichse, what happened, says Rashi? It says Yaakov Avinu, Nichse Chutzlatz Einam Kedaili. You remember what I said that, Rashi? Let's give a look. Just a second. And he gave him all the money for the Maras HaMachpelah, for Chelko Maras HaMachpelah. And Perek Memvav Pasuk Gimel, if I remember correctly. Give a look at what I said. Perek Memvav. Here. Pasuk Vav. I'm sorry. Perek Memvav Pasuk Vav. Look what it says. Vayikru es mikneim ve'esruchushem asher choshev beretz Knan. They took all their properties of Eretz Canaan. Vayavo Mitzrayim Yaakov Kozaro Itoy. Says Rashi, Asher Rochshu Beretz Canaan, Aval Masher Rochash B'Podan Aram, all the millions that he made by Lavan, Natan Akol LeEsav, Bishvil Chelko B'Maras HaMachpelah. Omar Nichsei Chutz Ha'La'aretz Einan Kedai Li. I don't like Nichsei Chutz Ha'La'aretz. V'zeh Asher Kariti Li, Ha'emid Lo Tziburin Shel Zohar V'Kesef Kemin Kri, V'Omar Lo Tolet Elu. Right, that's what it says. By the way, Rabbi say, what would be today if the Rosh Hashivas in Eretz Yisrael will say, "Nichsei chutz ha'aretz einam kedai li"? We don't want chutz ha'aretz money. Do you know which yeshiva will be able to exist? Corona, they say, Rabbi say, that the last 5-6 years, especially after Corona, there's a lot of gvirim in Eretz Yisrael. It's Bemis not so understood why they have to come here anymore. Bemis. But Nichse Chutz Haaretz Einam Kedai. But even the Gvirim in Eretz Yisrael, what's the Nechasim? In Chutz Haaretz. Right? Nichse Chutz Haaretz Einam Kedai. I always had a kasha, by the way, Rabbi, it's not a topic today, but Yaakov Avinu almost killed himself for Nichse Chutz Haaretz. He went back for Pachim Tanim, which were Nichse Chutz Haaretz as well.
He spent 6 years accumulating.
Accumulating, right? And it says, Kiba Makli about this Yarden, I came with nothing. So when he went back for Pachim Ktanim, and he almost killed himself, and from there the Gemara learned Tzadikim, Amonim, Chavim, Alem, Gufam, was also Nichse Chutz Haaretz. So Makara Pitom, that Nichse Chutz Haaretz in
When
Kedai?
you give everything away, what did you say? Left that?
No, Nichse Chutz Haaretz. He made
מה נשאר לו?
לא, הוא עשה נכסים בארץ ישראל עכשיו.
איפה, מתי?
לא, עכשיו.
הוא הגיע.
לא הגיע עכשיו, לא. אולי זה, אני לא יודע.
יספור גם של חלק של הארץ.
What?
Actually, this is the Master
Maybe Lumas Eretz Yisrael. It could be.
He got a whole back on the
Okay, you could say that. Biyachas. And also you could say that once he started making Eretz Yisrael to Nechasim, so then Nichse Chutzotz lose their value. But if you only have Nichse Chutzotz, that's what you have. Or you could also say, he means luxuries of Chutzotz. Like Rashi says, Kesef Azov, he could put there. What you need to live on, I don't know if it makes enough Gemin in Chutzotz or Eretz Yisrael. If it's beyond that, the Kesef Azov. Pachim Ktanim is not Kesef, not Zav. But anyway, okay, that's a side nakuda. So I'll call upon him. So Esav comes and says, "Hey, that last plot's for me." So they told him, "Listen." They told him, "No, you sold it to us. B'kivriyah shekariti, you sold it." So Amalu, so Esav said, "You have a document? Bring your documentation. Do you have? Prove it." They said, "We left it in Mitzrayim." Fine, go to Mitzrayim and get it. So they said Naphtali, Ayola Shlucha, that's what Rashi was referring to. He was a sprint runner. He could run very quickly. And they sent him to Mitzrayim. I guess it will take a day or 2 or 3. And meanwhile, they're all standing there. So it says the Gemara, okay, Chushim Berei Dan, this Chushim, the son of Dan, Taman Hava, he was there. The Yakin Udnei, he was hard of hearing. Because he was deaf, or almost deaf. Amalu, what's going on over here? What's going on? How come we're not going with? Why are we doing the Levaya? Amalu, they told him, Kama Akiv. There's a delay here. We sent Naphtali on the way. So he says, V'ada ati Naphtali ma'aret Mitzrayim. Amalu, V'ada ati Naphtali ma'aret Mitzrayim ye avi abba mutal b'bizayin? Until Naphtali comes back, Zaydi's going to lay down here in Bizayin? That's impossible. Shakal kulpa. What does kulpa mean? Kulpa. What is a stone or something? No. Yeah, machya arasha, and he banged it on his head, and he died. Rashi says shakal kulpa makel. Okay, good. That's the Gemara. And the head fell off, and there you do it. Asks. It's known in the world the name of Chaim Shmulevitz, but I'll show you it's in Maharal. What happened to all the other Shvatim? Why were they standing by? Why do you think Chushim ben Dan's the one that is the one who took action? The guy's Nebuch deaf, he doesn't hear so well. I don't know if he's mamish deaf, but he doesn't. Hard in hearing, that's what it says. He's the one that says, what's going on over here? No, there's a delay. And what's going to be till Naphtali comes back? Zaydi's going to lay down like this? Bibizayin? Yeah. Impossible. Boom. Why did he do it? You say it's non kasha of Chaim Shmulevitz, and the answers will be also the Maral's answer. Let me read to you what the Maral says in the Chidush Agudas there. Here it is. Uma shelo asa echad min hashvatim ha'acherim. How come the other shvatim didn't take this action? Why dafka a grandson who Nebuch doesn't hear well? Why is he the one that did the deed? Meaning when they entered the negotiations with Esav, the other Shvatim, they didn't think it would be any problem. וכאשר התחיל עשב לחלוק, לא היה נמצא אצלם ההתעוררות. They already did, how would you translate again? התעוררות? Awakeness. שאין כוח ההתעוררות נמצא רק כאשר הדובר ההוא חידוש לא מאוד. ואז הוא מתעורר לעשות מעשה. וחושי בן דן שלא ידע מתחילה המעשה כלום, וכאשר כבר היה עשב במחלוקס, והוא צריכו לשלוח אחר ראיה, ואז נאמר לו לחושי בן דן, ואז היה מתעורר להרוג את עשב. Says the Maral, a murder Yisrael. That's what Chaim Shlomo asks and answers. He just wasn't aware the Maral asked that. The brothers already, they somehow got used to it a little bit. Because when they started negotiating with Esav, they thought there'll be no problem. So the negotiation started. They already left the starting point. As the negotiations went on, there's a little bit of a problem. He wants the proof. He wants the documentation. Oh, okay, they're already in it. Okay, so go to Mitzrayim, Naphtali, and get it. It will take 2-3 days? Okay, it will take 2-3 days. But when you hear it for the first time, you say, well, are you crazy? On the first time, what's going on here? Yaakov's going to lay down like this for 2-3 days? Du bist Meshuggah? When it hits you the first time, then you're Mesayrer. And that's Choshim Ben Dan. He got the picture now for the first time. What's going on here? This is crazy. How come the Shvatim lost it? They got a little bit used to it already. Even though maybe just a few minutes went by. But already they're beyond the starting point. Because first they negotiated, they thought it would be chik-chak. Esav then raised the issue that they weren't prepared for. And they're already in the negotiation, so let's now finish it. We'll wait. But Chushim and Dam, it hit him like a lightning, because it's the first time. He just joined it now. And that Yisraelus happens only at the beginning stage. That's what the Ram says. So we have a little bit of a Pesach, that what makes a passion, what makes enthusiasm, if you're in the Haskalah, if you're in the starting point. Chushim Ben Dan, for him, it's the first time he joined the Parsha when he sees Yaakov there on the floor. It's impossible. The other Shvatim were already beyond stage one. That's what the Mal says. And Reb Chaim Shlomo says the same thing. Okay? Right? שאין כוח היסורוס נמצא רק כאשר הדובר הוא חידוש לוי מאוד. So the Maral is connecting hisorus to chidush. Okay, right? Something new. But once you already got used to it, you're fine. Yeah. That's what he says. Again, in the world, it's very much known. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says in the Sichos Musar. On the Maimar called Koach HaHergel. That sometimes getting used to something kills everything. He says on that Maimar. And here it could be just even a few minutes. You know, the word regular and hergel, regil, I think is the same word. It's the same word. Like a lot of times you find words that are the same.
A quick question. Where else does Rashi bring this Gemara in the Sefer Bereshit?
This Gemara.
This Gemara, yeah, you can Sefer Bereshit.
In Sefer Bereshis.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You do. It's the next 2 lines.
The next 2 lines in the
What does Rivka say?
Lama Eshkol Shnechem Yom Echad. Yeah, good. Yeah. Meaning that they both will be buried the same day.
Yeah.
Right. Nachon.
As you say, you have to know your Mishnah.
100%. Lama Eshkol Shnechem Nisnaba, but he doesn't put the Gemara.
He does. Kaf Zayin, can look it up. Kaf Zayin, Mem Dan.
Read it. What does he say?
Gam Shnechem, Mem Yochim Alecha, Vata Targim, Yam Du Banecha, Bono V'Yargucha, Ruach HaKadosh Yishkabah, Nisnaba Shabiyim Echad Yimusu, Kamoy, Shemaforish, the Perik, and the Kalan Ishta.
Very good. He quotes the Gemara. Very good. Mitsuyan. Besenu Gomer. Okay, I'll say. So let me get back there. So here the Maral gave us a little bit of if it's his chachus, if it's new, so then there'll be his oirus. Okay, that's again in this week's parsha. So what I would like to there's the one ingredient that I was looking for, and I found out that the Sfasema says it. And the Sfasema says a commentary on Pirkei Avos. For me, it was a little bit of a chiddush. It's Sfasema on Avos. And it's very interesting that Dafka, the yeshivot, which are more Dati Lumi, they're very into Sfasemas. And they published it again and again with a new modern version, with footnotes and so on. It's very, very, here, I have a Madurat Or Etzion. That's, I think, Gush Etzion. They published the Sfasemas. All of them, with footnotes, very, very geschmack. And he's going on the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Perek Aleph Mishnah Hey, which says, Veheve shoteh betzama et divrem. I think that's Mishnah Dal. It's the previous Mishnah. Okay. Veheve shoteh betzama et divrem, which means drink the words of Chazal. Veheve shoteh betzama et divrem. It's the previous Mishnah there. Okay. You know what the Goyen says on that Mishnah? Maybe again, let's guess. Is there others there? Mishnah, I think right behind you. No, I want Bir Agra. I want Bir Agra. There's something very, very money in there. On that Mishnah, and then I want to redo this Sfas Emes. Shkech. You know, a shver going backwards and forwards is not so pushy, you know what I mean? Shkech. You know, they say, it's funny that the shver is called the shver, the shviger should have been called the shver. You heard that expression? Okay. The last words of the Mishnah in Perek Aleph, Mishnah Daled is, Veheveshoise betzoma is divrem. Drink their words with thirst. Says the Goyen, yeah, it's one word. The Gra. Kumoy shekosov hoy kol tzameh l'chul hamayim. So what is he adding? So you could say he wants to bring a pasuk to show what it is. So Rav Huda Zatzal explains. I'll tell you what the Goyen's adding. The halacha is drinks that have a taste, you know, like Coca-Cola, orange juice, or whatever. When you drink it, even if you're not thirsty, you make a bracha. Water, you only drink it if you only make a bracha if you're thirsty. But if you drink it, let's say to clean your throat, the Gemara says there was a bone stuck, and you drink water to get it down the system, you don't make a bracha. Exactly. It has to be that you're thirsty to make a bracha on water. So it says Rav, you know what the Goyen's adding? The Mishnah says it doesn't say which liquids. What liquids? So he quotes the pasuk Koi kol tzameh l'chul hamayim, meaning you should learn Torah like when you're thirsty, when you mamish have that drive to do it. That's what the Goyen added to the words of the Mishnah. You got to be thirsty. Okay, good. Says the Sfas Emes on this Yisod. He quotes the Gemara in Masechet Shabbos. Do you know the Gemara says in Masechet Shabbos Daf Nun Amud Beis that bread, even if it doesn't, it never becomes moist. People never are moist from bread. But like zaysim and other foods, if you cut it or slice it in a not nice way, people will get moist from it. But bread they don't get moist from. That's the Gemara. I looked it up. Shabbos Daf Nun Amud Beis. Says the Sfas Emes. You know what it means? If it's Vayechi lomar, what does it mean? Kumod isa she'ein halechem nim'as keshar ma'acholim. Lechem does not become mos. Again, in English, how would you say mos? Disgusting. Why not? She'ein halechem nim'as keshar ma'acholim. V'lama? Why is bread different? So you know what he says? You hear Michael? Again, not Michael. Everyone calls him Michael. Malach Michael. V'lama? Kivan shehu ikar hachiyus. וכן נמי דברי תורה נקראים חיים. כמובן, וכמו המשל לדוגים, שכל טיפה רואים כאילו לא תמו טעמיים. So the Sfas Emes quotes this Medrash. He says, you know what it means? Have a shoyse betzoma divrem? That learn Torah as something which is your life. That it's your life's on the line. Your kivan shu ikar chiyus. And then he makes the mashal to Dagim that you should drink the water with simon. So the Sfas Emes gives us the last ingredient that's needed here for this puzzle. What makes a passion? What makes a ischachus? What makes a something when you understand that it's your life? Ikar hachiyus. Once you understand that, everything will fall in place, like we said before. Rabbi said, what do I mean? I'll give you an example. I don't know if we ever spoke about it, but I get asked pretty often by teenagers, you know, davening is very redundant. Three times a day, the same Shmoneh Esrei, day in, day out. You know, it's limas. It's so routine. You know, one day you would say this, one day you would say that, but like that, I get asked this at least once a month. What? A few times a day. What do you think is the answer?
You have to build it yourself.
Yeah, appreciate. You know what I told the guy who just hit me when last time I was asked? I said, by the way, when you eat pizza, oh, you know what? Forget about pizza. Every day we eat the same food, basically. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. Isn't it basically the same? Isn't our breakfast basically cereal, coffee, lunch? And then at night, it could be one day it's chicken, one day it's a salad, one day it's if it's milchiks, one day it's pizza with olives, one day it's a pizza with mushrooms. But it's very, very redundant. Did you hear anybody say it's boring when it comes to eating? Halavai, it would be. Then a lot of this won't be here. Did you ever hear anybody say, I'm not eating pizza? You know how many times I already ate pizza in my life? Enough. Maspik, I had enough pizzas. Did you eat already 1,000 pizzas in your life? Probably yes. So why are you eating another one? Lonim aslacha? No. Why not? Here it's automatic. This is your life, man. You can't live without eating. When it's connected to Chaim, there's no redundancy. The feeling of Chaim is, it's always happening. You're alive now, not because once you're alive, every minute. It's a Chadish Petuva. It's said on that. Chaim Birtzoinai. So next time anybody asks you, it's redundant, you ask them, how come breakfast you don't feel the same? How come you don't feel the same thing with a pizza, with a shwama, with a sushi? You don't have that. Lama lo? Because there's an automatic ischachus, because it's automatically chaim. It's not even you think about it, that's how it works. When you eat, it has to do with your chiyus. And therefore, it's never redundant. I'm sorry? Lechem yisad, 100%. Levav, your heart. 100%. It connects to your life. Food connects to your life. If we don't know it consciously, we know it subconsciously. You know you can't live without food. So food is living. You never get bored with eating. Halabai, sometimes we would. We don't. That's what the Sfas Emes adds here. Have a shayta b'tzama. It should be with a just like bread. He makes a tzushel to bread lechem because it's ikar achiyus. Now this is a avodah to acknowledge that this is ikar achiyus. But you know how come Dogim? You know how come when you learn Torah, when you hear a new word as if you never heard anything before, because we know enough about Torah. It's chaim hi lamachzikim ba. And we know it, if not consciously, subconsciously, we know when it says in the Medrash, Pirkei Rav Lezer, Avos Rav Nosson, I'm sorry, Asara Dvarim Nikrim Chaim. There are 10 things which are called Chaim. The first thing is Torah. It's Chaim. When we're learning Torah, it connects to our lives. If you learn Torah that way, it will never be redundant. It's always going to be, wow. It's always going to be like a kashmaka pizza. Always. It's always going to be, Reb David, like a Diet Coke. How many times did we already drink Diet Coke? How many bottles already? Gay base. What? Thousands. And every time it's Gishmak again. Lama? Because it connects to Chiyus. I want to just tell you, I think once they ask them, I'll be with them in a minute. I told you for the 3 years I used to go in and out by Ritzu Goodness Atzal. I had a kriyas, whatever. Every single time when I came in, I don't think there was an exception to this rule. And when you come in, he has a presence. He's someone that you feel at his door. And you come in a little. The first question that he asked me every single time was not Mashlom. We spoke in Hebrew. Was not Mashlomcha. It's not Echat Margish. It wasn't Mechadash. No, he was very original anyway. The first question, Atachai? That's what he asked for 3 years. Atachai? Are you alive? What do you think he was asking? Of course I'm alive. I came in. I'm coming in. No? If I were dead, how could I come in? Are you making what you're doing your life? Is your avodas Hashem your chiyus? Is your learning Torah your chiyus? is you're davening your chiyus. Atachai, are you alive? Meaning, are you connecting your important things in your life to your chiyus? It's Pashut, that's what he meant. Atachai. Which is, that's the direction here. If I'm going to connect these things to my life, just like we automatically do by food, my boy said even fish understand it, so to speak, with water. So it's there in the world. What we just got to do is from time to time to remember that now we're going to daven married, for example. My life, this is something of my life because I'm davening for everything that I need for my life. So to speak, my life's on the line. On every tefillah. Obviously, that's the avodah in itself. But once you do that you connect it to chiyus, bingo. Everything happens. It's new, you're passionate, it's exciting, it's as if the first time you ever did it. Ke de muchach bepizza. Raya gdola from pizza. You never had a feeling that you always feel, oh, this is really Yishrak. That's the avodah. You know what? We should all answer before this question. Atachai? Atachai. Which means not just are you alive. Are you connecting things to your life? Are you making that these things are part of your life? Your chaim is your avodas Hashem. You're learning Torah. You're davening. That's what it is. Again, you see from Choshim Ben Dan that when there's a ischachus, so then there's these oils. But how do you make the ischachus? So again, Rabbi say, one more last source I want to quote. Again, we spoke about it many times. Ikar todosem shel tzadikim ma'asim tovim. The Rashi in the beginning of Parashas Noach. The main offsprings of a tzaddik are his good deeds. They're even more important than his biological children, because it says Noach ish tzaddik before the children that he gave birth to. Why is it more important than children? Says the Maral in this spot, because you're giving birth to yourself. Mashiach get children, you're giving birth to others. So it's more significant to a certain degree. But why is the Lashon of Chazal ikal todosem shel tzadikim ma'asim tovim? Why not ikal todosem shel bnei adam ma'asim tovim? Anybody who does good deeds, it's great. Why is it Lashon tzadikim? We spoke about this, right, Rabbi Say? Many times. We need these chachos. Oh, you know what? Here's like Bala. You're doing it as if you never heard it before. That's not like that. Kipshutai. Rabbi says, I always had the kasha on my own. Then I found out in Shavuos, the Maimon Zan, he asks it. He points it out. Todostem shel tzadikim ma'asim tovim. Kolomar, gam lekol ish Yisrael yesh ma'asim tovim. Every yid does good deeds. Well, how does it say, Ein lecha rekat shel Yisrael she'eino maleh mitzvahs kerimai? Everyone does good deeds. Who doesn't have good deeds? Baruch Hashem. אבל אין הם אצלו בבחינת הילודה, nothing necessarily is born there. שאין ניכר במעשים טובים שלו, here comes the words, עיקר חיוסוי. He does מעשים טובים, but it's not done with עיקר חיוסוי. אבל אצל הצדיקים, המעשים טובים שלהם הם בחינת הילודה, שכן עיקר חיוסם של הצדיקים, גנוזים הם במעשים טובים שלהם. The chiyus is in the מעשים טובים. When a tzaddik does a ma'aseh tov, he says, this is what I'm alive for. That has passion, that has excitement, that's first, that is gewaldig. When you connect it to Ikar Chiyusam. Another person does ma'aseh tovim, he does it, but maybe it doesn't carry its chiyus. You can't have a leder without chiyus. It says, Mefesh in the Gemara, a leder has to be called gufo malgish. A leder, that's the ingredient, ki oisa an muvakshim. That ingredient to understand that this is what life's about. Like we understand automatically, even a fish understands that food, that's what it's about. Right? This nakuda. You know, I was just thinking to myself, we daven every morning, v'ha'arevna, that the mitzvah should be sweet. Is there any other mitzvah that we ask that should be sweet? Do we ask that the tefillin should be sweet? Reb Shlomo, what do you say? So why do we ask it only by Torah?
concentrate that long every day.
That's the pshat?
I don't know.
Is that the
Is
pshat?
what you
Do we ask that your Shemaim should be Geshmak? Do we ask mitzvahs which the Shesh mitzvahs Tminias? Do we ask that it should be Geshmak? We only ask it by Torah. But why dafka by Torah?
It's hard work.
You could say it's hard work, but the Chiluk Rabbi say again. I'm not mechadish. This is written everywhere. Mitzvahs are the levush of the neshama. Torah is the mazon of the neshama. The Goyen says that. That's like Torah is a league in its own. All mitzvahs are the levush of the neshama. Bring me two Rashis that say that mitzvahs are levush. Rebarch. Two Rashis. The mitzvahs are levush. Mitzvahs are the levush, but the food is Torah. Now mitzvah Torah. It has to 100% do with that pasuk. 100%. It says by Adam Arisha that he blew one mitzvah. Mitzvah achas hayta beyadam v'nit'artelu imena, and that's a pshat v'yedu ki arum imhem. They're not with clothes. And then it says v'at erum v'araya, and of course Baruch gave us two mitzvahs that we shouldn't be arum v'araya. In Parshas Boy, mitzvahs is a beged. It's the beged of the neshama, which is very important. But Torah is the mazon of the neshama. Could you imagine eating without an appetite? You know, never there is such a kind of thing. The people have to eat because they know they have to eat, and they eat it without an appetite. They take pills. Blind people don't have such a no. They go in yuma. Torah is eating, so we're saying, let's have an appetite for it. I don't want to eat without an appetite. Eating without an appetite. Hashem Yirachem. It can happen. That's by Torah we ask for Arevna. Everything should be Geshmak, but by Torah it's crucial.
Where do you see that Torah is Muslim?
Is Muslim?
Yeah.
It's a Goyen on Mishlei. If you,
What pasuk?
I have to look. I think in Perek Aleph.
Didn't he say on the pasuk in verse 9? And he can Kaldon Lechem Nevada Yichya Adam Kiel Komet Kashem.
That's a fresh pasuk. It's a Tzushat Lechem. It's compared to Lechem. That's a pasuk. I don't know if the Goyen quotes that pasuk, but very Geshmak. But the Goyen says clearly, mitzvahs are levush. If you'll text me, I'll be able to tell you where it is. I saw it just recently, the last couple of days. Torah is a mazon of the neshama. So Mele Rabbi say, so we can't. What's the ingredient that we need? Ikar chiyusay. And that will lead to ischachus, that will lead to passion, that will lead to renewal, that will lead that it's not boring, that will take care of everything. Ikar chiyusay. But it says in the Mishnah, Im lamata Torah harbe, al tachzik tova latzmecha. Why? Ki chaim l'motzayim, ki lekach notzarta. Okay, that's something else. I hear. What do you want to ask? Yeah, it's okay. So anyway, so we want to wish everyone, first of all, again, to Michal. A week from now, obviously, Michal will come in with the chassan and kal. It'll be so nice. We'll make Hashem brachas here, Mitzvah Hashem. Here, we already have the raisins. Where are they going to live in Mitzvah Hashem, the young couple?
Yeah, locally.
Locally, it should be nachas and simchas, and call to Rabbi Yisrael.